today is a good beginning to read the Ephesians 4 11 through 13 passage. Now, that's not the only verses in that chapter, so it's good to read the whole chapter, but I want to start with 11 through 13, focusing on the gifts and the calling of those gifts, and for one purpose, and that is to say, what is your part? Where do you find yourself within that mix? And I know you know this passage, but let me read it again. So Ephesians 4 11 through 13. It was he, speaking of Christ, who had descended to ascend with the gifts. It was he who gave some to be apostles, some to be prophets, some to be evangelists, and some to be pastors and teachers, to prepare God's people for works of service, so that the body of Christ may be built up until we all reach unity in the faith and in the knowledge of the Son of God and become mature, attaining to the whole measure of the fullness of Christ. We're going to talk about those gifts throughout 2026. We're going to talk about ongoing about that passage and how vital it is as we stepped into a new era. Where are you in that gift mix? There are many things that I have and to say about this, and I am looking forward to having some teachers come on and talk about this passage. I want to get across the board, not just one aspect of the body of Christ, but several different aspects of the body of Christ, to hear how they see and how they've studied that word. I also have done some study on it, but of course, I'm not that deep studier like some of these other people that I'm referring to. But where do you fit in? And how then can you discover your gifting in that if you don't know it? They're not something you need to put on your business card or on your website. You don't need to say what you are. These gifts are important that we understand which one and we walk in so that we're able to serve the body of Christ. That's why it's important. So how do you discover that? Here's the first way, and I'll just give you this. Do you have a heart to serve the believer? The one who knows Christ, the one who is a believer already. Are you hungry to serve them, help them, equip them, build them up, nurture them, prepare them to go do all the stuff? If that is yours, are you hungry to serve the body in helping the individual discover their destiny, their purposes? Well, let me go back to 7, because this is important. But to each one of us, grace has been given as Christ apportioned it. This is why it says, when he ascended on high, he led captives in his train and gave gifts to men. What does he ascended mean except that he also descended to the lower earthly regions? He who descended is the very one who ascended higher than all the heavens in order to fill the whole universe. So every time I read that, what does it mean, higher than all the heavens? Yeah, I'd love to know a little more about that. And then we hit verse 11. It was he who gave some to be apostles, some to be prophets, some to be evangelists, and some to be pastors and teachers, to prepare God's people for works of service, so that the body of Christ, to prepare God's people for works of service, so that the body of Christ may be built up until we all reach unity in the faith and in the knowledge of the Son of God, and become mature, attaining to the whole measure of the fullness of Christ. Wow, that's intense. That's an intense passage. If you're hungry, hungry to serve the body, to build individuals up, to release them, to do all of that, that's the beginning point. Then simply begin to ask, and I'll have that piece on the blog where you can go through and ask yourself some questions to discover which of those gifts that God has poured out to give us gifts. And those 5 were very important. Cool? All right. Until next time, please stop by, get the questions off the blog, and we'll talk to you soon.